Hey, this is Mike with 5 Minute Guide and also Indelible Ink. Indelible is actually about to turn 10 this month, the end of July here. It is a web development agency that my best friend and I co-founded about 10 years ago. And our mission is to work with nonprofit organizations and businesses that are making the world better to help them perfect their digital presence. So we do that in a whole host of ways, mostly web development, SEO, that kind of thing. And in that world, there's a lot of content that needs to be generated. There's a lot of content that needs to be clarified. One of the areas that we all struggle with the most is when we understand what it is that we do. It can be really hard to communicate that to somebody who doesn't even have the foundational knowledge about our world, about our industry. Uh, I like to use AI to help clarify that information. There are a lot of pitfalls. So there's a lot of interesting and fun pitfalls to avoid. So I've put together a couple of quick tests here between Bard and ChatGPT. The differences, I mean, there's a ton of differences. There's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of crossover. Bard is current. You can have it crawl the web. You can give it a URL, and it will go look at that website and answer questions about it sometimes. And then ChatGPT is the last I knew, at least. This information will probably be out of date at some point, but it was updated as of 2021. That's the information that it has. You can't just give it a URL and have it go crawl the web and learn more. So there are advantages to ChatGPT. It tends to have a little bit better conversational parts to it. But Bard can get current information. You can send it to a URL and have it crawl it. Both of them will just make stuff up. So I want to show you a quick example that I ran a few minutes ago where I said, hey, please review this website and explain to me what the organization's mission is in a way that will appeal to a 50 to 60-year-old donor. This donor is a C-suite executive, enjoys spending time outdoors. The website is, and here's the website, it's one of our clients' local parent-child center here. And it did a great job initially getting, this is, the mission of the organization. Here's many of the things that it does to accomplish that mission. Super informative for a donor to know this information, right? Like this is an area that sometimes we forget to communicate. Hey, this is our mission. Well, how do you accomplish your mission? Here's the stuff. The rest of the world doesn't necessarily remember that these are the things that we're doing. So it's really important to make sure that we're continuing to communicate that. And then it goes through and it starts to explain like why a donor may be interested. And I can put all of this in the video description so you can read through it more clearly without having to pause. But there's something I want to point out. It says, in addition, a C-suite executive who enjoys spending time outdoors might also be interested in supporting SAPCC's DULCE program. DULCE is a program that provides outdoor experiences for children and families. These experiences can help children develop a love of nature and learn about the importance of conservation. Well, I jump over here, and this is all the information on the website that I'm aware of about this program, and then it takes you to a contact us page. So I have no idea where it got this information, and it seems to be about a program for parents and newborns uh, that are getting care at a particular hospital. So I am not sure why it decided that that's what happens in this program, and this really exemplifies a very important point about using AI. AI does not replace an expert. AI can help supplement and speed up the development of content, but an expert still needs to read through this content and go, yeah, that's not true. Any statistics that AI generates for you need to be audited. It can be a helpful starting point to go, oh, hey, that is a great spot for some statistics, but let me check and make sure these are accurate. Um, it's a great, you know, it's a great idea to point out programs that help get kids outside and engaging with nature. uh, this probably isn't that program. So, it's helpful in that it will help you think about the way the content should be written and things that might be impactful, but that it has to be audited, it has to be vetted. Um, and then if you keep going down, essentially this is almost written a donation letter for us, which is pretty cool. We have a series of blogs on our website about using AI with nonprofits, and one of the things that that we write about is using it to write a donation letter. We talk about how to write web content. We talk about a ton of things. I'll link to that in the description as well. Um, so as it goes through, here are some specific examples of how the programs and services have helped children and families. A young child with special needs who was struggling at school was able to get the support she needed through the Children's Integrated Services and Early Intervention Program. She's now thriving in kindergarten. A family who was struggling to make ends meet was able to help with childcare and other expenses. I don't know that there's case studies on the website. Again, I think that this is just information that Bard has made up. So again, a great idea. Hey, let's talk about some specific cases. Here's how we've impacted our local community that you might care about. These are just a few examples of the many ways that we've done this. If you're interested in supporting SAPCC, you can make a donation on their website or contact them to learn more. Yeah, like overall, the structure is good. You might want to change the voice so that it sounds more like your Well, not might. You definitely want to change the voice so that it sounds more like your organization. But this beats staring at a blank page every time. Now you have something you can work with. You have some phrasing that might be more clear than what we would often generate as people who are already experts in the field. Now let's take a look at how ChatGPT did. ChatGPT could not crawl the site, so I just gave it the mission statement and essentially the same prompt. Please write this mission statement in a way that appeals. And that also, if you jump back over to Bard, it wrote the mission statement and then really added a lot. This is not a mission statement. Like if you were trying to create website content and you were saying you gave it the prompt, and that was honestly what I was thinking was I want to rewrite the mission statement on this page so that it appeals to these particular donors. This is a lot. This is not really like a succinct mission statement. It's a lot more like a fundraising letter. So let's jump over here and see how ChatGPT did. At the Springfield Area Parent-Child Center, we are dedicated to creating a thriving community where children, families, and caregivers can flourish. Our mission is to build bridges of support that connect generations, enrich lives, and foster a love for the great outdoors. So that's interesting because that's not actually part of their mission. It's now trying to make it appeal to the person who likes to spend time outdoors. But so it's kind of crossed that over. And this is, again, where you have to be very careful. You don't want to just say that if that's not actually part of your mission, because now you're actually like falsely representing the organization. As a C-suite executive who appreciates spending time in nature, you understand the value of strong connections and the positive impact they have on personal growth and well-being. SAPCC is a nonprofit organization nestled in the heart of Vermont's picturesque landscape, serving the stunning southern Windsor and northern Windham counties. Oh, okay. So how did it even know that? Right, that was part of it. So it is interesting that ChatGPT was like, hey, let's talk about the beauty of Vermont. Our commitment to the community and our passion for the outdoors makes us a natural fit for donors like you. Again, this is leaning a little too heavily on that little detail about the target demographic. Through nurturing relationships, fostering a culture of learning, and engaging in meaningful community collaborations, SAPCC empowers children, families, and it just kind of keeps going. It just keeps coming back to how SAPCC is celebrating the beauty and serenity of the great outdoors. It is valuable that it talks about how it's nestled in the heart of Vermont's picturesque landscape, right? So that connects with the donor who loves the outdoors and immediately is drawing that visual of mountains and the valleys, and, maybe even fall, the foliage in the fall. But camping out on that idea and really talking up their commitment to the great outdoors is a little too much. So again, you have to vet this, you have to audit it. There are a whole bunch of other cool tricks that you can do. And let's just go back and say, like, this is getting us from a blank page to something. There are some other things we can do that are really helpful. So like I might say, ask me 20 questions about SAPCC to help prepare you to write a donation page. Write content for a donation page. The content should be between 400 to 800 words and should contain at least 3 sections with calls, each with a unique call to action for donation, volunteering, and sharing with others. So now Bard, ChatGPT, whichever, should come up with a series of questions that it can ask you, and you can go through and answer those questions to essentially train the AI to understand your organization that much better. Then you can continue the conversation and have it move on to writing that content. So Bard, of course, did all of it at once. So we would want to go through and answer these questions and then have it regenerate this content for the homepage or the donation page. I'm going to do the same thing over here with ChatGPT, and we'll see, how clunky that is. One of the cool things about Bard is you can also view other drafts. So if you didn't really like something, you can see other ways that it put it together. And so, like in this case, again, we would ignore all of this because we haven't given it any of this information yet. But we could bounce through and see many different questions, depending on how it put it all together, right? And some of these might be the same question, just worded a little bit differently. And if we jump over here, with these questions answered, I will have solid, yeah. So ChatGPT did a way better job of understanding what we were asking it to do, understanding our intent. Here's the questions, answer these questions, and then I'll be able to do what you want me to do. So we would run through this, answer these questions, and get a really much more refined version of what that page could be. So there's a lot of ways that you can use this. If you're writing a press release, if you're writing content for your site, if you're writing a donation letter, if you're writing something for a newsletter, you can use this in a lot of places. But I cannot stress enough that it will make stuff up. So you absolutely need an expert to vet that information, subject matter expert. And if you're writing for the web, you want somebody who is also versed in SEO to be reviewing it, making sure that it's staying on track. You can say, if you're going to write for the web, you can tell it, hey, I want to focus on these keywords. I love the Ask Me 20 Questions prompt because it prepares the AI and essentially trains it to understand your organization that much better. You can try to give it prompts as well about how it should word things. Like if I say, using the voice of Jim Carrey, please write a single paragraph asking for a donation. And so it can kind of get that voice, but I always recommend rewriting it in your own voice or rewriting it in your organization's voice. So, hello, I'm Jim Carrey, and I'm here to ask you for a donation to SAPCC. SAPCC is a nonprofit organization that provides essential services to children and families. None of this is like Jim Carrey-ish, right? Like it doesn't even say alrighty then. It's just starts with, hi, I'm Jim Carrey. So sometimes it gets it, sometimes it doesn't. And maybe I spelled Jim Carrey wrong. Maybe it's only one R, no E, or I don't know. But again, I would use these two tools, combine them, pass the responses back and forth a little bit until you can really refine it to get what you want. And then that's your starting point as the person writing the content. Now you can refine that, and the work of putting together the outline and thinking about what examples you might, or what kinds of examples you might want to use, that's essentially done. And then you have the more human work of getting the right examples in there, checking the data and making sure that things actually align with your organization and your goals and where you want to go. So I know this has been a little bit more than 5 minutes, and I'm sure I'll get tons of comments about that. If this has been helpful for you, please like it, share it. If you've got questions, go ahead and drop questions in the comments. We are not around on the channel as much as we used to be because we've been running a web agency for 10 years. But we will try to answer the questions, and oftentimes other folks will help. They'll jump in and have the conversation as well. So happy to help in any way we can. And again, if this has been helpful, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will talk to you soon.